Peace, guys. How's it going? Patrick, Conservative Rap. And in today's clip of geopolitical and financial news, let's take a second to think about taxes, how high they are, right? Not just here in America, but globally. Certain exceptions, Dubai, etc. But the climate change hoax that they've been perpetuated, I mean, has that not been created to increase taxes through fear? Think about like a lot of these word tracks, they just simply won't work anymore. And Mila Joy, let's take a look at this. She put this out. Climate change has always been a hoax, and she's archiving how every single decade they have some new kind of fear mongering that they push. The taxes remain. Nothing that they predicted ever actually occurred. Next, Kobisi letter put this out on X. Check this out. World central banks are diversifying their reserves. Foreign holdings of treasuries as a percent of US government debt have fallen 23%, the lowest in 22 years. The percentage is down 11% points over just the last 9 years. At the same time, gold holdings as a global percent international reserve have hit 18%, and that's the highest in 26 years. The share has risen 8 percentage points since 2015. China has been one of the biggest buyers of gold over the last few years. Since the beginning of 2023, China's gold reserves as a percentage of total foreign reserves have doubled to 7.1%. Everybody and their mama, I'm adding editorially, wants gold. So, question, hypothetical, why aren't they ramping up on paper currency? Maybe they know paper currency is not money and gold is a hedge against fiat, the fiat that they tell you and I to have faith in. It's this from the Daily Huddle. Federal Reserve's withdrawal of crypto guidance just lip service, says Senator Cynthia Loomis. Here's why. Republican Senator Cynthia Loomis of Wyoming says that the Federal Reserve withdrawing its crypto guidelines for banking institutions is just lip service. We covered this in the last post. In a new thread on the social media platform X, the pro-crypto legislator says the Fed's recent actions are largely just for show due to several factors. Earlier this week, the Fed, alongside the Federal Reserve, Federal Deposit Insurance Company, FDIC, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, OCC, rescinded many guidelines and statements made toward how banks can conduct crypto activities. As stated by the Fed at the time, the Federal Reserve Board on Thursday announced the withdrawal of guidance for banks related to their crypto asset and dollar token activities and related changes to its expectations for these activities. These actions ensure that the board's expectations remain aligned with evolving risk and further support innovation in the banking system. However, according to Loomis, the Fed's actions are superficial because they still use reputation risk when supervising banks. Loomis also said the Fed hasn't withdrawn the policy that deems Bitcoin itself and crypto as unsafe and unsound. She also says the Fed openly disregards the law when it comes to crypto banks applying for master accounts, which is the record of the account holder's financial rights and obligations with respect to administering reserve banks. So remember, if they were to embrace crypto or gold, it would undermine the rationale for their own system. So just something to think about. From Eric Doherty on X, holy smokes, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just went nuclear after the experts' market crash prediction fell flat. There was a story and I'm quoting Bessent here, there was a story 10 days ago that said, this is the worst April for the stock market since the Great Depression. 10 days later, the NASDAQ is now up in the month of April. I haven't seen a story that says the stock market has the biggest bounce back ever. I think a lot of this is media driven, and Scott Bessent is entirely on the money. It's exactly what we talk about here. The fake news encompasses fake economic news. Don't mind the gloom and doom. It's the only thing they can do during this window of time until the golden age starts to really sow its rewards in the pockets of everyday Americans. Eric Doherty put this out on X. You gotta hear this. Frank Luntz gets a panel of Trump voters and is shocked when he finds out they aren't jumping ship because of market correction dips and dips in response to tariffs. There's too much reason and logic in this frame for any single Democrat to handle. So Luntz will say things like, hey, this has crashed your 401ks, most of you. The tariffs, the stock market is way down. And they respond back and they say, hey, it needed a correction. He's surprised to see that they support it. And they're like, yeah, damn Skippy. My 401k, my 401k wasn't impacted at all. In the Biden administration, I'm quoting some of the panelists here, I lost more money by far. In 2022, they crashed it by 25% for the entire year. So Luntz is surprised. He says, hey, is no one upset over this? And they all, like universally, it's like 12 of them say no. And then some of the quotes, it shows you how wise and how smart the American people are. Quote, there's not a single 4-year period in the history of the stock market where the stock market hasn't appreciated at an average rate of about 7%. Yeah, there's ups and downs and corrections. People are foolish and they jump out, buy high, sell low. But if people get in and stay the course, they'll be just fine. Another one says, I'm not a day trader. I also trust that Trump and a lot of his advisors involved with the tariff issue know what they're doing. It'll correct at some point. Luntz then goes on to say, well, how much are you willing to pay for products and services that come out of China? How much do prices have to go up before you say, this is crazy? The panelists reply, I'd rather not buy from China. Same. Prices only go up if demand is inelastic and if there's no alternative supplies. They're doing a brilliant job. They're surrounding China via the other countries. And we do need to bring stuff back. These people said it best. The people are awake. And the fake news, whether it's conceptually or demographically with actual like election results, they're really losing a hold of the population. Trump, on Truth. When tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes, check this. This is Trump on Truth. When tariffs come in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. Focus will be on people making less than $200,000 a year. Also, a massive number of jobs are already being created with new plants and factories currently being built or planned. It will be a bonanza for America. The external revenue service is happening. So the bonanza happening, he's coming out and admitting it. The upgrades you'll be able to make to your home, the improvements you'll be able to make, the new houses, the new car, we're all going to be saving money with these tax reductions. It's going to go back to stimulate the economy. I used an F-Zero analogy in an earlier post. You won't even recognize some of the verbiage you're hearing from the leftist media today. Illuminati bot put this out on X. The moment we stopped printing United States note and replaced it with Federal Reserve note on the dollar was the moment America changed forever. Again, guys, it's time to be excited. Everyone's going to feel this change. The central bank system was designed to make the dollar perpetually worse and lose value, and we're slowly freeing ourselves from that burden and from that system. It's a new economic we're walking into, and I'm happy to be taking part. Now, check me out at ConservativeRap.com for a complete archive of all of my work. TikTok and Instagram have the poetry and the rhymes, the financial news we cover here as well as on Rumble. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment below with your thoughts, and look forward to more shortly. Thanks and take care.